Hi everybody, Eric Dorward here with the Spartan Rocketry Club, continuing our build of the Rocketarium Mega Rebel here. So in the previous phase, we completed this business right here, the nose cone. Today we're going to hopefully finish the bottom half of the rocket, but before we get to that point, we need to install this, bulkhead here. This is the connection point. It's going to be made between the nose cone and the shock cord and all that. So that fits in like so. All we need to do is glue, and this part actually calls for wood glue for once. So I'm going to do this kind of in two stages here. I think I'm going to put glue on the inside here, and then I'm going to push the piece in place, and then I'm going to glue around the joints where it comes together. This is probably going to squish mostly out, but that's okay. I'm not terribly concerned about that. That's fine because, yeah, you can see the glue, a lot of it got onto the bottom of it. Well, that's fine because I need to glue down there anyway. I'm going to spin this around to try to distribute that glue as evenly as possible. Okay. Yeah, I'm actually quite pleased with that. I'm just going to try to mop a little bit up here with my finger. I'm not actually getting too much because that's distributed pretty nicely. So this looks pretty good. What I'm going to do is I have a couple of pieces of tape rolls. I'm going to use this to balance it because I want the glue to dry. I want the piece to dry like this. I'm also going to add glue here to this joint. The only place I really want to be careful not to get any glue is in that hole, because that hole, remember, essentially acts as the launch lug. So I'm going to start here and just push the glue, making a fillet, but making sure that I don't end up putting any in that hole. All right, that looks pretty good. I'm going to let this dry like so. And then once it's dry, I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to put glue on this face because that doesn't have anything on it right now either. But for the time being, I've got glue here and I've got glue where I smeared the glue and it went through. So that's just about perfect. So that's just going to go sit off camera and dry. Now, the next bit is to build the bottom phase here. And I need numbers 3 and 4 and 6 and 8 and 9. So they're in actually reverse order of what I need. And they're going to go into the body like this. All right. Now I'm supposed to actually put the tube, that would be this one. I'm supposed to use the tube as kind of like a guide, I guess, to get this stuff all basically in the right order. It's not going to really show me. You know what? I'm going to put it in completely opposite direction, I think. So 9 is going to go in first. And then actually 8 and 7. You know what? This obviously isn't going to hold anything together, but I mean, I can stack it in the order that it wants to go. Yes. Then 4, and then 3. This is going to be kind of odd with a tube in like so, but that's what it says to do. It's, okay. Well, that's fine. Honestly, I don't see how this is going to work. So I can always bring this back later. I'm just going to start putting the pieces together just like I did with the other piece, the nose cone. So I'm going to just jigsaw it together. Actually, I have this started in the wrong place. Number 9 is just going to fit on top. So I might not even put that in at the time being, because nothing's going to hold it together. It's just going to be kind of free floating on top. That's going to be kind of problematic, at least at the get-go. I do want to make sure that I have all the holes lined up again. When I stack these together, if you recall in the last video, they were all pointed in the right direction, so that shouldn't be too much of a problem. And again, number 9 is just going to sit on top like so. So, for the time being, nothing's going to hold that together. So we'll just give that a pass. Let's start putting the other outside struts, or whatever you want to call them, together. This was the part where jigsawing became a little tricky in the nose cone, so expecting this to be a little cumbersome here. So it's going reasonably well, at least for the start. Oh yeah, that fits in quite far. That doesn't go the whole way, and this one won't either, but that feels pretty snug. So moving on to the next one. All right, good progress. So the top two, well, I guess they're not really the top two because number 9's not in place, but these two basically go the whole way. They slot the whole way. This one seems to, I mean, it's not going to go the whole way into the middle here, but the edge seems to line up. And the bottom one, well, that one, of course, is not going to get anywhere near the whole way through just because of the way that particular piece is shaped. All right, last bit. Hopefully this will be, it's been going pretty well so far, so I feel like I'm kind of asking for it at this point. Yeah, it seems it feels, oh, there it goes. It's starting to slide. Yeah, there we are. Okay. Just want to make sure that all of these joints are in as far as they can get. So that's going to affect the stability. So I'm just going to go around and check all the other ones. That one wasn't quite where it was supposed to be. Some of these feel like they could slide a little bit. Okay. All right, so that was all 4 sides. I'm going to line up number 9 now. This one, I mean, it's certainly not going to stay, but it should at least, all the gaps should line up pretty well. Most of these seem to be fine. All right, that feels pretty good. Okay, so I need to make sure that I got all the holes lined up properly. Looking down, you can actually see better than I can, at least to start. They look fine, so that's lovely. Insert the tube into the holes in the discs. Make sure it is not too tight. All right, so I'm going to flip this upside down for a moment. And actually, it's probably better the other way. I'm going to drop it in. Remember that engine hook needs to go down. If it doesn't go down, that's a problem. And that, well, don't love the sound, but that is actually, that's easy to move. The instructions say if this is too tight, then we need to sand things, but that should not be a problem. All right, so the next step here is glue the assembly together using thin CA glue. Apply glue on both sides of every joint. Do not, repeat, do not glue the tube in yet. Okay, so the tube is, I don't know, just there for decoration. What I think I'm going to do, because there's nothing holding 9 in at the moment. I'm going to flip this over. Actually, I'm going to do one other thing first. All this cord, I don't want this anywhere near anything when I'm gluing. So I'm going to shove that into this tube just to get it out of the way. And now I'm going to flip this over. Okay, so this tube is pushed all the way down, checking to make sure that everything is in place. I do want to make sure that 9 is supposed to be glued in right now. Yeah, it is, so that's great. Anyway, there's nothing holding 9 on right now other than a wee little bit of friction. So I'm going to make a point of doing this upside down first. That way there's something actually holding number 9 in place. So grabbing my CA glue here again, because remember all this stuff is going to be done with CA for some reason. Now I know the reason. The reason is this is a weight issue. All right, so this is going to be a little on the time-consuming side, but I'm going to apply glue to every one of the joints that are facing up right now. Fortunately, you probably can't see my hands through this to see what I'm doing terribly clearly, but rest assured, all I am really doing is painting a thin little stripe of the CA glue right in each crack. Okay, second level. Again, this is something that, unfortunately, if you are not a grown-up, you probably shouldn't be doing. That being said, the box does say 14 plus, so I don't know. I mean, maybe it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world for somebody who's 14 to do this. But seriously, like, CA glue is not something to be messing around with. So most of the kits that I've done that use CA, they hardly use it at all. They only use it for very small little attachments of things that wouldn't otherwise stick together. And I've used it with the kits that were built for videos I've done so far and for the club itself to do like patch-up work. So if you want to build a kit that requires CA, this is not where I would recommend starting. Just because there's so much of it to do. You should probably cut your teeth, as it were, on this stuff in a more controlled environment rather than this one, which is like every possible thing you might need CA for, you're using it. Okay. All right, last bit is top here. I need to be somewhat careful here because I don't want to glue the white tube into this. Not yet, anyway. All right, 2 more. All right. So that is all the upward, well, downward, I guess. The ones that are facing up right now, that's all the CA joints attached. Eventually, I am going to glue in here, but not yet because it's not time for that. All right. This stuff is a little stinky too, so I probably don't want to be just gassing myself with all these vapors all at once. So I think for right now, I'm going to stop. We'll complete gluing this in the next video, and I assume that we're probably going to end up attaching the motor mount here in its more final capacity then. So I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.